I'm going to switch gears a little bit, and then we're going to come back to writing functions and our last assignment, or our assignment for this module, actually. So I will first talk about the PyCharm debugger. Now, the PyCharm debugger is very, very useful. Let me throw some code in here. Actually, I'm going to use this one. I'm going to use this, and I'm going to throw in some breakpoints here. Now, maybe as you've been coding away, you've accidentally put these little red dots on your screen. Anybody had that experience and go, I'm not sure what that is? Well, now you know that they're called a breakpoint. And when I put breakpoints in my code, it's basically saying, when I run this code in the debugger, I want you to pause there until I tell you to go on. Because if I run this regularly, just like this, it's over. I run it, it's over really quick. I don't know what's going on. I either know if it worked or didn't, and maybe I get an error message, maybe I don't. I don't know. But if I, let me just reduce that number to 2 there. If I want to debug this, then I can put in breakpoints, and I can hit this little bug right here where it says debug junk, and I'll need that to be selected here in this drop-down menu. But I'm going to hit debug. And what happens is this. Now, this blue bar represents where the program is right now, where it's paused. Why did it skip line 2? Anybody have a curious guess as to why it skipped? Why do you think it skipped line 2? It's in the definition. It hasn't actually executed that code yet. It'll only pause when it goes to execute that code. So when I define the function, all I'm saying is, here's what that function means. I haven't actually done it yet. So when I choose the first line of executable code here is say hello. And so it pauses there. Right now, there's not a whole lot going on. So I'm going to hit this little green button right here on the left-hand side. It says resume program. So I'm going to click that. And now you can see the code is in the function. It also looks like it's altered my code there, but it hasn't. These italic messages or characters over here to the right of my code, on the line of the code definition, or line 1 up there, you'll notice say message colon hello as a string and times colon 2. What it's doing is it's telling me the value of those variables as it stands right now. It also tells me the variables here under the variables window, what they're equal to. This is really useful when you're debugging your code, because if you have a breakpoint in your code, it gives you the ability to pause and see what a variable is equal to at any point in your code. Because if you're getting a variable error or something isn't working the way you expect, this is really helpful for figuring it out. So I'm going to hit resume program again. And now it's back up to that line, and you can see x is equal to 0 here, because that's what x is equal to before the second time this runs. So this is run one time, lines 2 and line 3, ran one time, x is equal to 0 at this point. The next time, x will increment. And I can also see where is that? Sometimes it prints a little bit out here to show what it's doing, but I'm not seeing that yet. I'll give it a second here. There it is. So if I hit console versus debugger here, if I click on the console, you can see it's printed the message one time. So if I hit resume program, prints it again. Okay, so there, I have to scroll up a little bit to see it. And now it has exited that loop because it has reached the 2 times that it's supposed to cycle through, and it is paused right here. Now, it hasn't started this yet. Whenever you have it pause at a breakpoint, it pauses here, and it's about to execute this line. It hasn't done it yet. So when it runs this, it's going to jump back into that function again. So if I resume the program, it hasn't printed anything yet here because it is right here, paused at this breakpoint, about to enter the loop. So if I click it, X becomes 0, it prints it for the first time. Now it's printed it twice. Now this is going to be too narrow for you to see that it actually prints it 5 times. But you can see here, I'm able to track all of my variables. Boom, 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 right here. It also highlights in this list of variables. Sorry it's so small, I'd make it bigger if I could. But what you'll see here is that it's highlighting in red the variables that are part of that function. So it's keeping track of also the variable scope for you. So you can use this if you're having trouble figuring out what the flow of your program is. You can put a bunch of breakpoints in there where you think you'd want it to pause. And you can sort of keep track of what order your program executes in. And also you can see what the value of different variables is throughout the life of your program, which can be really helpful. And you can leave breakpoints in. Breakpoints can stay and they don't affect your program's running. When I run the program, it runs as if the breakpoints aren't there. The breakpoints are just there to pause when I'm running the debugger. And that's the only time they do anything. So that's why you've had those red dots appear there, but you haven't been really impacted by them because you haven't been running the debugger. So that's just a really brief introduction to the Python debugger or the PyCharm debugger. It's useful. There's a whole lot of content there. I could spend several class periods just showing you all the features. But right now, I think those are the pieces that are useful to you in terms of figuring out your programs. It is a very useful tool. It's just one of the many tools that we have available to us that allows us to figure out what's going on when our programs aren't working the way we expect them to.